I don't even think social anxiety anymore. It's just not even something that I don't feel twisted like a pretzel. If I want something, I'm like, oh, I might eat this. Boom, I go wherever I need to go to get it. Oh, I want to go to this cafe. I might eat this lunch with these people. I'm totally fine going to the counter asking for what I want. And I don't even think, oh, I better not talk so much. I don't want to engage that person even more. It's just like I just go with the flow. And for the last Christmas, I hosted Christmas for 18 people.
Mm.
And yeah, so I did it myself. I didn't hide behind anyone. And 2 years ago, I couldn't even go out into the lounge to be with in Christmas.
All right, that very exciting description of social ease that you just heard is from Kate, who you're about to hear an interview of, or who you're about to see an interview with. Depending on whether you're listening to this in a podcast or whether you're seeing this on video on my YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/Sebastian Doc, SEBASTIANDOC. Just as a little bit of a pre-frame to the interview, we talk about a social confidence community that is no longer running. That ran from 2018 to 2019. Then I took a year to regroup, see how I could improve things. And then I actually planned to do Social Confidence Community 2.0 in August of this year, but I moved it earlier to May and I renamed it to the Social Confidence Club. That's what we've been running. It's been a huge success. Much better even than the Social Confidence Community that we're talking about, but it's closed for registration, but it will be opening up in 2021. But first we got the 30-day Social Confidence Challenge coming up, which is super exciting. And I'm releasing this interview right now so you get a bit of an idea of what might be possible when you actually start working on the crap that's in the way of your social ease. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy my interview with Kate. Here we go. So hello, welcome. My name is Sebastian van der Schrier from socialanxietysolutions.com. I'm a former social anxiety disorder sufferer and a social confidence coach, and I help people feel calm, relaxed, and at ease in social situations. I've been doing that for a long time, and in July or August 2018, I started a online social confidence community, the first ever that I know of, and the first ever that I definitely ran. And we ran it for roughly a year, and it was a big success. We had a lot of people staying on and reporting profound results. And one of these people is the lady that we're speaking with today, Kate. So thank you very much for being on the call. And
That's okay.
yeah, I'm going to ask you some really well-prepared questions that I mostly found online. But basically it's just a bit of a casual conversation. And I always first want to know like what it was like before everything, because people can relate to the pain of what was happening there easily. That's instantly. The actual changes, that's a bit harder for people to grasp, especially if you instantly start talking about that. So we'll kind of go into what it was like before, then the experience of the community and what you like and what you didn't like, what was easy, what was difficult, and then the actual results. So what was it like for you prior to the community, social anxiety wise?
So I'd probably been struggling with social anxiety on and off since probably my late teens, when it was getting quite debilitating. And then I had periods in my life where it wasn't. I could function, but there was always just a feeling of it lurking in the background, you know, like I would not do certain things. And so I just kind of white knuckled everything, even though I knew healing and different techniques. This was an area I just couldn't overcome. I just couldn't. I'd tried so many things. So I've written just a few things down. How it was for me right before I went into, you know, we started the course. So I'd stopped driving in public. I couldn't handle being out. You know, there were other issues as well because of the earthquakes where I'd lived. But the social anxiety was part of that. So I couldn't drive. I couldn't handle being, you know, like in traffic, felt like there was people all around me. I couldn't go into shops and ask for things. Like maybe if I could go into shops, there's no way I could go up to the counter. And I was terrified of paying for things because since I'd last been into shops, all the, you know, all the FPOS machine things that you pay had all changed. And it was like, oh my God, I don't know how to use these new ones. And I don't want to have to spend that time there feeling in the spotlight. Like, I don't want to ask or say anything. I couldn't go into restaurants or cafes and do anything socially like that. I hated sitting at a table, even in a house, and couldn't go into a supermarket, couldn't handle the amount of people in the supermarket. I couldn't do things like, you know, like take a class online. And, you know, I was okay if it was just, you know, like typing and chat rooms and stuff, but not visual, no camera. Yeah, so I was pretty debilitated, really, you know, like so if I wanted something, I would buy it online and I wouldn't have the option of, you know, oh gosh, I want to eat this, I'll go get it. You know, it's like I felt like I was twisted like a pretzel to, you know, to get anything that I wanted.
Yeah.
And I also felt quite dependent on the people around me, you know, to kind of do some of those things that I needed to get done. You know, it was, I felt really debilitated.
And how did you feel when you were in a social situation?
I avoided them. You know, like Christmas Day, I would be like sick on Christmas Day, or I'd, you know, I just couldn't handle a room of people. I could just handle my small world, really. I couldn't go to other people's houses, and you know, I was just terrified of any interaction.
Yeah.
And I think you know, I'd had periods of times in my life where I was fine, so I knew that it was possible for me to be fine. But then that made me feel like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? You know, that I just can't kind of get back to how I used to be. Yeah.
Right. And in situations that you couldn't avoid, because, you know, when you know that socializing is going to be painful and awkward and uncomfortable and so on, it's very common to then avoid those situations, right? Because why would we want to feel like this if we can stay at home and don't feel like that? Sometimes there are unexpected things or spontaneous things, or someone comes over, or, you know, what would you then be like, or what would you then feel like?
I lived in a house with other people, so I would just avoid answering the door, or You know, if there was visitors or something, I would just try not to be around them. And if I had to engage, then inside, you know, like I might be able to stand there, but I'd be frozen. I'd just be like, I just want to leave. I want to leave. You know, I've got to get out of here. I couldn't be in the conversation easily because my whole thought process was, I just want to leave. You know, I've just got to get out. I couldn't even, you know, I might be able to look like I'm replying, but inside of me, I was just going through the motions.
Yeah. Not there, not present, not connected.
Yeah, definitely not connected, and just kind of like hanging on until I could actually just leave.
And what's like, you say frozen, which is a common experience for people. Would you say that, you know, how did you feel? What emotions would you feel? Would you be worried? Were you afraid, or like?
It was like fight, flight, really. If I look back on it, it's the freeze part of fight, flight, but it's fear. It's all the time fear and feeling hypervigilant, and also almost going into survival mode, really, you know, feeling like that person's a threat. So my whole system's almost quite locked on to looking at that person and as if they were a threat. And yeah, definitely no connection, and not connected to myself either, really.
And do you remember what some of the worries or fears were that you had in the conversation, or when you were in that moment?
Well, there was always a running commentary in my head of how much of a loser I felt that I was. You know, like, oh my God, you know, I'm such a loser. I can't even do the simple thing. And there was a fear of being seen to be afraid, or there was a fear of judgment, I think, too, like what I might say, or how I might say it. I feared that I would be judged. So the whole time it was super, super critical of what I was saying in return, and never really, never ever seeing the other person as maybe being uncomfortable or awkward or whatever. I just saw them as, well, they're far more confident than I am, so they must be, you know, they must be fine. Yeah, so just always feeling like I was a loser. I think feeling like I was such a loser was a big one for me.
Gotcha. Okay. And
I didn't have a fear of like being seen to be red or anything like that. I felt as if I was being judged or being assessed. Yeah.
Assessed as in like evaluated?
Yeah. And I would, and I'd always think that they probably thought I was a loser as well.
Gotcha. Right. Okay. And then eventually we started working with the community, but prior to that, you know, I put information out there. I try to get people to sign up. I'm trying to convince people that, hey, you know, this is not a bunch of nonsense. This actually works. So
yeah.
Do you remember any doubts that you had that could have prevented you from actually pulling the trigger and moving forward?
I don't really think so, because usually when I decide I want to do something, I just do it. So I think it was I think I probably had a fear that you would take me too far out of my depth,
Hmm.
like, or you'd move at a pace that would be too fast for me, and then I'd end up being a loser, like, oh my God, I
Failing.
can't, I'm failing again. And yeah, and um, yeah, I had a fear that perhaps you might tell me to go into situations and do EFT, um, and I just didn't want to do that. Like cognitive behavior therapy, but you're doing EFT. Um, yeah, I was just, I didn't want to be out of my depth.
Hmm. Okay, that's insightful. Good to know. Okay. All right, and then let me look at my questions.
I think the big thing that I'm just thinking, one thing that I haven't said
Mm-hmm.
was a big part of having social anxiety is feeling like as your life's ticking along, you're just missing out on so many things,
Mm.
and I kind of justified it by thinking, oh, well, I'm really interested in healing and personal growth and stuff. And then my son got married in Rarotonga and I couldn't go. And that just completely threw me off the deep end. That's when I really got serious. Like, I've really got to sort this,
Mm.
because I've missed out on a major event in my kid's life, and that was just way too much. So yeah, so that gave me the impulse, the impetus to kind of, I'm going to do what it takes.
Yeah. My mentor says that pain is a very good motivator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. And you mentioned that you tried a bunch of things to no avail. What were things that you tried that?
I did um I did cognitive behavior therapy for this, and she did things like took me into, wanted me to walk into cafes and sit down and have a coffee, and wanted me to, we went to the library and
This
was
was with
sitting
a
around.
therapist.
Yeah, we kind of, it was like exposure stuff, and she took me places, like we went to the park, and it just completely, I just felt like it made me worse. It
Mm.
was just, I felt more re-traumatized. I couldn't go into the cafe. That was just way too much. And so in the end, it just made me feel like a total loser. Or, I had one of those cases that couldn't be, like you talked about,
Right.
I was the hardest case.
Yeah. A belief that most people tend to have, uh, especially once they show up and start doing some tapping, because they tried a whole bunch of the other things already, and that didn't work. And I'm like, well, clearly I must be broken, and there's, I'm a tough case, and nothing works for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and also remember, I wanted to have sessions with you personally, and you interviewed me, and then you decided no, you didn't want to work with me, and you referred me to someone else, and I was like, oh my God, I'm such a case, I'm too difficult for him. So that was, I just felt like, oh my God, I'm the toughest case.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good thing I was wrong. It happens. Yeah. Okay. Nice. And okay, I think we want to go into what the actual community was like. So, I guess, what was your say initial experience the first month or so?
I loved it. I just felt right at home. I just was like, this is my pack, this is my tribe.
Mm.
It was so good to be around people who had the same issue as me. It was like, I felt like we could all just share everything, and no one was judging us. And yeah, it was really, really good. I loved it.
Great. Yeah, I found that to be the case as well. It was very interesting how everyone really connects, because finally it's, you know, the secret is out. It's on the table. We're all
Yeah.
here for the same, you know,
Yeah,
same thing.
totally. Yeah, and also just kind of realizing how many people experience this, and everyone's kind of normal. It's not just just how common it is.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a 12% of the world population, or like of the Western people population, prevalence in the
Yeah,
lifespan. And that's with the statistics that they have measured. Now, they have not measured all the people that do not reach out to a therapist because they're scared of it. So in
yeah,
my
totally.
estimation, it's way, way higher. But
Yeah.
at the very least, it's that 12%. So yeah, there's lots and lots of people dealing with this problem.
Mm.
And it's very nice indeed when you see someone that describes what it is that you're dealing with. You're like, oh my God, I'm not
Yeah.
alone in this. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And it gave me the courage to face more, and really go for what I wanted and trying things. And, I felt like it was, I could try something new, and it was like, oh my gosh, I can go and tell everyone. And, it really did feel like it was the support I needed.
Great. Because, since you don't really know what the community actually was, let me just say a bit about that. Great, Sebastian, that you left that out at the beginning. Anyway, so it consisted of drip-fed content, specific lessons to learn about your psychology, about your mental and emotional well-being, and about tapping, and specifically how to apply tapping to overcome social anxiety. So it was 10 modules that I took them through, and within those modules there were particular lessons. And that was one component of the community. The other component was an online forum, and the third component was live webinars every week. And Kate was actually the second or third, I think the second volunteer that I worked with. And this is kind of funny. So I kicked off the community saying in my marketing to promote the community, it's going to be these three components. But I didn't have any volunteers ahead of time. I just assumed, yeah, people are going to volunteer. Of course they're going to volunteer. Why wouldn't they? Because, and I'll know how to communicate in such a way that they'll be jumping on the opportunity. And I send out my my little persuasion emails trying to get people to jump on a live webinar so I could coach them. And it was crickets. Nobody volunteered. I'm like, oh no, this is not good. And then someone contacted me. His name is Nathan, and I had already closed the community. And he said, "Man, can I still get in?" I'm like, "You can't really get in, but how motivated are you to overcome your social anxiety?" He's like, "I am totally motivated." I'm like, "Great, I've got a live webinar coming up, and I'll coach you for free." and there you go. And he said yes to it. So he became the first volunteer to be coached on the live webinar. And then people saw that he was making a transformation. And then, people started jumping. Well, actually, rather than me telling the story, you didn't volunteer for the first one, but you volunteered for the second one. So why did you, what motivated you to do that? And how did you feel? Were you scared? And what was your experience during the coaching and during that first webinar? Do you remember?
So my thing is, I felt like, well, here I am. I've got this guy who's, coaching, so, on social anxiety. Like, I've got to get some work done on me. Like, I'm going to volunteer.
Good.
And, like, I've got to make this work. I've got to do the work. And I'm not going to, it's not going to happen if I don't show up. Like, my goal was I'm just going to show up. And that, I remember that first webinar, I was terrified. It was like I was frozen. I just, like I just basically sat there all day, trying to keep it together, ready for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I've never had that experience myself because there was nobody who specialized in social anxiety coaching.
Yeah.
Right? Like I've seen a lot of therapists, but I wasn't necessarily, especially back in the day, specifically for social anxiety. So I don't, and especially not in a webinar kind of format where people are watching you and that kind of stuff. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like it's creating a social anxiety scenario, but the big difference is
Yeah.
that the people that are watching, they all have social anxiety and
Yeah.
it's kind of like we're all in this together. And the first thing that I did is like, okay, how are you feeling? Well, I'm frozen. Okay, great. So now
Yeah.
the secret is out and we can work with the feelings there. So the big difference is that now you're not in a social situation and you got to pretend that you're okay and all of that. No, your actual problem is right there and we're doing
Yeah.
tapping.
Yeah, totally. And what I really loved about your method is I knew that we could just tap on it instantly as soon as, I knew that we weren't going to talk about stuff, and I knew we'd go straight for the tapping. So that kind of gave me the confidence as well that we're going to tap my fear down before we start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, we had a whole bunch of webinars with a whole bunch of people. So the
Yeah.
floodgates were opened, which was good. And
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Let's see. What else did you like about the webinars when you were not a participant? Sorry, when you were not the
Yeah.
person being coached, but you were just watching and tapping along.
Well, I mean, by that stage, we kind of all also really gotten to know each other in the forum. So it was really nice to kind of put a face to a name. And there was always something in everybody that I could relate to, like their issues may have been different situation, but it was always the same thing. It was, I could just tap along and and have relief by tapping on their issues.
Spectacular, isn't it? I love that. I
Yeah,
love that concept so much.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and especially with social anxiety, because yes, everyone has very similar. Everyone has is a unique person. They have a unique history, but the problems, pretty much everyone feels on some level they're not good enough. A lot
Yeah,
of people feel that people don't like them. A lot of people are afraid of being seen anxious. A lot of people are afraid of being judged negatively. And so the presenting problem of social anxiety is very similar and the same. And while the root causes might be different, as we
yeah,
tap on the symptoms and everything, and I would tap with the people on the actual causes, still your brain links it to whatever's going on with you. So,
yeah, totally.
I might be working with this girl on her relationship with her mom being critical, and that reminds you of your dad being critical,
Yeah,
for example,
yeah,
and your brain just goes there, and the tapping releases it anyway.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, and why while this is an interview, kind of to experience what the community, for people to understand what the community was like, because I think I'm going to run another one at some point, but I want to do things a little bit different. So I also want to know, what did you not like about it, or what was difficult about it, what I could improve next time. I might cut this out.
Um, I think the only thing that I didn't like was everybody just faded away on the forum.
Mm.
So it was, yeah, I think we just, my sense was, and I mean, I could be totally wrong, but everybody got to a point where they kind of felt way too challenged and they didn't want to do anymore. So so being in the forum kind of triggered it up. So they just didn't even hang out in the forum either.
Mm.
So it was like everybody kind of had their sticking point, and so then they faded away. So yeah, maybe next time, I don't know, we could, it's a hard one because you could do like a group chat on Zoom or something, but then, you know, some people are just scared of showing up. So you could maybe do some exploring around that, how to keep people, but then, you know, is that controlling? Are people just going to fade out when, I mean, is that just life?
Yeah, well, it's a good question. I was, because I thought about this as well, obviously. And because I think the forum was active for the first 4, 5, 6 months. And yeah, then it started to fade. And I was thinking maybe even because people had gotten enough out of the forum and there were connections made and feelings were shared. And so I was also thinking, well, for one, what you said, there might be an overwhelm of information. And for two, it might be they've gotten the value out of it and now it becomes something additional to attend to. You know, so yeah. And I thought there probably need to be more people anyway in the forum. So the next time I'm running it, I'm aiming to get a lot more people and to spread out the information. I need to keep half lying so my face is and I'm also boiling here in this room. It's a fantastic place, but hey, we'll make do with what we have. Yeah, and spread out the content so that it's less, you know. But it's the first time I ran it, so and in the end, we had about 75% of the people that stayed until the end. So it's a
oh, that's good
percentage in general for people that run communities. It's unheard of.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah, I just didn't see anyone in the forum. I'd made a commitment to show up. That was my whole goal. So it was like after a while I felt like I was showing up, you know, there was an echo in the room.
Right, exactly. Anyone out there? Yeah. Okay. And what else did you like about the forum? Or let me be more specific. What were 3 other things you liked about the community?
I like the structure. You know, I like the headings of each module and what you expected from us to talk about. Yeah, I don't know what else.
Let me change my question because I messed it up. I should have asked a different question first. What did you like the most about the community?
Well, it's quite funny because, you know, really, I wouldn't have said this in the beginning, but what I liked was I liked interacting with the people. You know, so it was being there with the people and getting to know everyone, which I wouldn't have said that in the beginning. I would have just said it's somewhere where I can talk about myself. you know, but then, you know, by the end it was like, where is everybody? You know, I want to interact with these people that I've got to know.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
Mm.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. All right. So now let's talk about the actual results. So how are things now compared to how they were before the community?
They're just completely different. It's just like, I don't even think social anxiety anymore. It's just not even something that I'm, you know, I don't feel twisted like a pretzel. If I want something, you know, I'm like, oh, I might eat this. Boom, I go wherever I need to go to get it. Oh, I want to go to this cafe. I might eat this lunch with these people. Totally, I'm totally fine going to the counter, asking for what I want. And I don't even think, oh, I better not talk so much. You know, I don't want to engage that person even more. It's just like I just go with the flow. And for the last Christmas, I hosted Christmas for 18 people. And yeah, so I did it myself. I didn't hide behind anyone. You know, and 2 years ago, I couldn't even go out into the lounge to be with in Christmas. So, yeah, I'm totally fine sitting at the table. What else did I write down? I drive everywhere, driving on the motorway, drive where I want. Yeah, I just I don't avoid people. I don't avoid conversations. And I also really enjoy being around people, you know, like social situations are a motivation for me now. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I think the other thing too is the biggest thing that I felt before was I had all these regrets of things that I missed out on. But the biggest thing of it that I notice is I don't feel like I missed out on anything. Now that I'm through it, I feel like I've always been this way, like I'm not missing out. There isn't a sense of disconnection. And, you know, it just feels like I'm connected and I can have all those experiences that I want, and it almost feels like I've had them. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's like I just feel like I've always been this way.
Right. So it sounds like it's not that big of a deal.
No. I also have attended a few classes online, you know, where I'm in a group and everyone's face is on the screen and we're all talking, and I have one-on-one sessions, and yeah, I just feel like I'm doing the things that I want to do for the reasons I want to do them, and I can be involved in the conversation about that thing. I haven't got any self-talk going on about myself. It's not so loud that I can't be present. You know, so if I go somewhere and I'm talking about a dog, I'm just talking about a dog. I'm not, you know, I can be in the conversation.
You're not having an extra conversation going on at the same time. It's like, oh, should I be talking about this dog, or what are they going to think if I'm talking about this dog? Yeah.
What do I look like when that I'm talking about this dog, or I said the wrong thing? Like, I just don't care. You know, I don't. You know, like I mess up and stuff, and I still you know, I still have moments of like normal moments, but I just don't have that um, I just feel natural.
Mm,
Mm.
right. Good.
I mean, there's still things that I want to do that I haven't done, but
Mm,
I don't feel as if I need to go testing myself in order to see if I can do them, because I'm just doing the things that I want to do now, and it's like, if I want to go and do something else later that I think, oh, I haven't done this socially, I might, I might think, oh gosh, that's maybe something I haven't tried, but it just feels as if that's what everybody would feel,
mm,
going into a new situation. I don't think, oh, I'm going to feel bad because I've got social anxiety or I had it. It just feels like, oh, this is a new thing.
good.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes. Very healthy perspective, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I like how you're describing it, because that's also how I describe it and how I've described it in the past. Like I write one email that that people kind of get automatically, and I talk about where a client asked me, so what does it feel like, social confidence? I'm like, well, just feels like not being anxious, just being in the moment and enjoying conversations. And it's not a big deal. It just seems like a really, really big, insurmountable, fantastic, wonderful thing when you're super anxious, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And it feels like there's this huge kind of chasm, and that you can't get to the other side. Like you're going to need extra abilities or something,
Mm,
and it's yeah. But I mean, going through the process in the community and the modules is, for me, was just so profound, and it was such a life-changing, like I was talking to my son today about how I was coming to talk to you, and he's like, oh my God, Mum, you're so different to how you used to be.
mm,
Like it's like I don't even have to kind of message them anymore to say, hey, I just walked into the shop, or take pictures of me in Kmart. Like, oh my God, Mum, look at you. It's like it's just like normal now. So
awesome.
I mean, I know my family's really relieved. Um, like my parents are really, really excited and relieved that I'm doing all those things that they really would have wanted me to do.
Mm,
And I suppose the other thing I realized is, they're quite elderly now, so there would have been a part of them worrying that I wasn't coping with life,
mm,
and what would happen if they weren't there. And so now they're just so happy, that they can go out for a meal with me, um, and do all those things that I've never been able to do all of my adult life.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Nice work. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, you put in the work, you get the results, because you were one of the troopers and one of the people that were actually there, putting in the work, showing up for the webinars. So great. And what I also wanted to say is, like, that belief that hey, I can do this and I will overcome this, that
Yeah.
wasn't there in the was the in the start, was it?
No, no way. I just felt like I'm such a hard case. You're not going to be able to crack me. And even though I really wanted it to, yeah, yeah, it was just so thrilling to have success after success. Like it was like, oh my God, I just did that, and I'm so proud. Even now, like when I was driving on the motorway the other day, I was just like, God, once upon a time I just couldn't have even handled doing this, and
Hmm.
you know, being around all those other people and stuff. It was like, look at me, it's it's a great feeling.
Yeah, freedom. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's also why this community ran for a year, because you start somewhere and you've been anxious, socially anxious for a long time. Now, the youngest person in the community, it was, of adult age, but I think 19 or something. And then even that person already had a history of almost a decade of social anxiety, and you have, let's just say, you had more decades of
Yeah.
experience with social anxiety. So it's been a program in your mind for a long time, and people,
Mm.
we're living in this society where we want everything quickly. We want everything, I want
Yeah.
results now, I want to stop suffering, I want to take a pill, and I want to be done with this. But it's not how it works. It's going to take time to restructure everything. And even just building up that belief that, wow, I really can change, that takes time, because you
Yeah.
get pieces and pieces of evidence that indeed you are changing, but there's a lot of things involved in it. That's why it's a process over time.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And also the other thing that I used to often experience was I would change, but then it wouldn't last, because I basically was just, trying to putting all my effort and will into something. Like, I'm going to do this, and then phew, I did it. And like, it just took so much energy. But yeah, in the beginning, I really couldn't see how I was going. I felt like I was here, and how was I gonna? Couldn't imagine that I would ever be there.
Mm.
And it would mean that I'd have to change so much in order to do it, and I didn't know whether I wanted to change that much. Like, I just didn't know whether I had it in me to change.
Mm.
But it just wasn't like that at all. It just is like, it's still me. I just got there, and it was so much. It really was so much easier than I thought it was going to be.
Mm. Yeah. And like we're saying, I'm still me. Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
turning into someone else.
Yeah.
That's the thing. People think, oh, change means I gotta go be someone else. I gotta be an
Yeah.
extroverted person now, or I gotta talk to people all the time, or I gotta be confident in
Mm.
spotlight all the time.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like I'm still the person I was. I just not got all this fear and need to avoid everything.
Yeah. And
Mm.
I think a theme that runs throughout the community is compassion and acceptance. So compassion for the struggle that you're dealing with, and acceptance of what you're dealing with, as well as accepting all sides of you, the good, the
Yeah.
bad, and the ugly. Yeah.
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 Yeah. That was kind of a big breakthrough, really, when I could actually, it's a paradox, really, isn't it, that you can accept how you are but still wanting to change.
Mm.
But yeah, that was a huge breakthrough when I could actually accept that this is how I am.
Mm. Are there any more breakthroughs that you remember along the way?
Um, I think one of the other biggest things that really made a profound change and difference was when I accepted that I had a lot of resistance.
Mm.
Like, dealing with resistance, I didn't really fully understand what resistance was.
Mm.
And I just I felt ashamed that I maybe didn't want to do something.
Mm.
Like, how can I say I want to be socially anxious when deep down I really don't want, I really want to stay at home and I don't want to go and do that thing. It's like, of course I want to go and do that thing, of course I want to get better. But deep down, I really didn't want to.
Yeah.
And it was just, I mean, I remember some of the first webinars, you'd get me to tap on some of the things, and I didn't want to tap on it because it was like, you know, I couldn't accept that I had all this resistance.
Yeah. And for people watching, resistance is like, so consciously, the mind that you make decisions with, plans with, etc., that's your conscious mind. So consciously, yes, you know that social anxiety sucks and you don't want to deal with it and you want it to stop and you want to feel at ease, but there's a deeper part of your mind, your subconscious mind, and that part is saying, no, it's not safe for you to be at ease, because if you're at ease, then fill in the blank, then you'll get criticized like you did when you were little with your dad, or then you'll be humiliated because you know, whatever, and then people won't like you because your mom didn't like you, or whatever it is. Like, it learned that being yourself, feeling at ease, saying whatever comes to mind, all of that's not safe. And so yes, consciously you want to stop the anxiety, you want to feel at ease, but subconsciously it's a no, because it thinks that's going to be dangerous, because you're going to get rejected, you're going to get hurt. And so the subconscious believes that your anxiety needs to be there to protect you, to warn you away from all these potential harms and painful experiences that you can have. And so you want to get rid of your social anxiety, but your subconscious, which has a main job, your protection, is saying no. So you're going forward and then backward and then forward and then backward. What I hear you say is like, once I accepted that that was indeed the case, that was when you know, I
Yeah, that really made a huge difference for me.
mm,
That's when I could really start to do things, and that's when it was more natural, I think.
mm,
Yeah, and
yeah,
I had a desire to do things.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it's also, again, an acceptance, huh? So you accept that there is that part of you that is trying to
yeah,
protect you, and even though it might not make logical sense to you, you accept that, hey, some part of me really doesn't want to go to that party. Okay, you know, or some part
yeah,
of me really doesn't want to do this work to overcome my social anxiety because it thinks it's better to stay where I'm at. And
yeah,
so, you know, the whole first module, I think we ran it for about 6 weeks, was focused on acceptance where we're at, acceptance of the anxiety, acceptance of what we're dealing with. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
nice.
no, the way you structured your modules and the way they came one after the other, that was profound for me, because there was stuff that, you know, I've been into personal growth for decades, and there was just stuff that I just didn't know,
Mm,
and it really made a profound difference.
awesome. Awesome.
Mm.
Well, near final question. Would you recommend the community? If so, why?
Nah, nah.
I love my marketing questions.
Yeah, totally recommend it.
Mm, good, good.
It's like changed my life. It really did. And a few of the techniques that you taught us in the course as well, and talked about, have changed my life as well.
Mm,
That I've carried on to do.
yeah, yeah, awesome. And
Yeah.
what I wanted to say as well, let me see. Yeah, what would you, if someone is deciding to go through the community, because I might just show this at the beginning of the next one, what would be a piece of advice that you would have for them?
I think the biggest thing that helped me was to just show up,
Mm,
to just decide you're going to do it.
yeah.
And I think the other thing is to just put out there what's happening for you. You know, like ask questions, and you know, like I often used to feel like, oh my God, I'm just always asking questions or talking about stuff, or I'm always writing in the forum. But it was like I just you know, it just keeps you going and it keeps you moving forward, and you know, just be prepared to do the work, I think.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you know, it's such a short amount of time in your life, and it can have such profound change.
Yeah. Good advice. Be engaged and do the work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just do it. I mean, you know, at times I was super, super scared, but you know, you'll get through it. You'll just get through it, you know. It's just do the tapping.
Yeah. Yeah. And I haven't asked anyone to go outside and force themselves to awkwardly expose
No,
themselves, and none of that. You know, it's
no.
all tapping and you know, writing, watching webinars, maybe making a comment
Yeah,
in the forum if you feel like it, which is highly recommended, because then you're more engaged, then you're more active, then you're more participating. And
yeah.
yeah.
And be honest, you know, like really be honest about where you're at, because, you know, you'll just be able to move through it.
Great. Well, anything else you want to add, or I think this is
I just want to say thank you to you again. You really have changed my life.
my pleasure. Well, you did it yourself, but yeah,
Well,
nice.
you were my guide.
I'm happy to have been that. Thank you. Okay. Well, on that note, thank you very much for doing this. This is going to help a whole bunch of people.
Great.
Especially because it's such an idea that you can't overcome your social anxiety, you know, and
Yeah.
you can overcome your social anxiety, and we need to have a merging of traditional psychology and energy psychology. And yeah, I'm excited about this. This is cool.
And it's also, I mean, I just think it's awesome that you're doing this, because it's one thing to get over something, but it's another thing to kind of to help other people get through it. Because I mean, you could have just decided, hey, I'm just going to carry on with my life now that I'm socially confident, you know. And it's like you've just decided to kind of yeah, I think it's a really big thing to help other people get through it, because it's so debilitating.
Yeah. Well, that felt very natural because also I was spending so much time on myself and therapists and that kind of stuff. I'm like, this is what I have to do, you know? So, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. So I'm very grateful that I get to do this. So in the end, it all works out, people. That's in the end, it all works out when you put in the work. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you. This is inspiring for people, and I'm gonna sign off now because we could talk for ages. But thank you, Kate. Inspiring to hear about your journey. We'll be in touch, okay?
All right, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this inspired you. This is in preparation or in like building anticipation and excitement for the 30-day social confidence challenge, which is really, really amazing. In case I haven't convinced you by now, I've been promoting it for the past 3 months because it is so incredibly cool. So if you haven't signed up for that yet, make sure that you do. Register for that by going to bit.ly/social confidence challenge. That is bit.ly/social confidence challenge. And see you inside the challenge. Bye for now. Oh, wait. Share this interview. Share it with other people. Share it on forums. Share it with your friends. Share it with someone you care about who's dealing with social anxiety. Okay? Hope this helps you, and I'll connect with you soon. And sign up for the free 30-day social confidence challenge by going to bit.ly/social confidence challenge. Bye for now.